Hi, darlings. How y'all doing? Are you feeling these energies? Are you feeling this magic? Because it is beautiful. Alright, the purpose of this video, I was asked a lot this morning after my live video how to meditate. Now, for myself, when I began my journey, I was in a space where many of you too are in now. Those just awakening, those who have been on the journey but still have not been able to really quiet the mind. Now, meditation for many, meditation has been a space where you have to sit with your legs crossed, hold your fingers, and Now, that is absolutely one way of connecting with your spirit and quieting your mind. For myself, I was not able to do that when I started out on my journey. And so, what worked for me, when I spent the 40 days and 40 nights at a crisis home and spent all my time out in nature, my spirit guides came to me, and they're the ones who taught me how to breathe. They taught me how to meditate. I had angels, I had Jesus as real as you and me sit next to me in my van in the passenger seat, sharing with me on how to do this. I had made a post one time about when I was out in nature in the beginning of my journey, how I was screaming at the sky, and I kept hearing someone telling me to breathe, and it's like I am breathing. And then once I was able to calm myself down, and actually, wait a sec, who told me to breathe? And so that's how I started out. Well, I was not able to go into typical meditation fashion, if you will, and quiet my mind. And so I was guided to, hi Marlon, I simply roll a big fat blunt and light it up. There you go. And so anyway, I was guided to stare at the flame of a candle and to focus on that flame as I breathed in slowly in through my nose and exhaled it out through my mouth like that. And I started out staring at this flame of a candle, and every thought that tried to come into my mind, I would push it away and just focus on my breathing and while staring at this flame. Now, it's helpful to understand, sweethearts, you're not going to master that in the first time you try it. And just like with a muscle in your physical vessel, if you will, it is something that you have to repeat and practice to master it. Now, when we encourage you to meditate, to quiet the mind and go into the stillness of your heart, the purpose of meditation is so you can quiet the mind, master your mind, control your thoughts, and hear your spirit. Now, you can meditate in the ancient fashion, crossing your legs in Om. Meditation can be achieved. Hi, Lizette. Hi, Osofo. Did I pronounce that right? Hi, Clara, Ellen. Hi, sweet ones. If I missed any of you, I'm here. I see you. Thank you. I love you. Big hugs and blessings. But meditation can be achieved in a number of ways. Now, for the feminine out there who have ever experienced labor, you have been, and the men who have ever attended Lamaze classes with your pregnant partner, if you will, you are taught to focus on an object and breathe during, when your contractions in your labor is so intense. You are taught to breathe and you are taught to focus on that object and just focus on your breath. That is a type of meditation. Taking a walk. Hi, Leah. How you doing, beautiful? And you can take a walk and have a walking meditation. You can go in the water and have a water meditation. There is no one specific way for you to quiet your mind. Your goal is to find whichever way works for you. Just because it works one way for me and another way for the neighbor or the other spiritual healer down the road, whatever it may be, they each had to come into what resonated, what worked for them. The purpose is not how you do it necessarily as it is doing it. And it takes practice and it takes diligence to reach that space. For myself, I started out practicing, like I said, staring at the flame of a candle for 15 minutes. And out of that 15 minutes, I maybe got the first time, a couple times, 1 or 2, 3 minutes, maybe 5, when my mind actually, I was able to push those thoughts away. And every time thoughts started to bombard my mind, I would just, again, focus my attention back on my breath until I was able to control those thoughts and push them out of my mind. Once I accomplished quieting my mind, then I allowed myself to go to the next step. I didn't try to do 1, 2, and 3 steps, if you will, in the first time. I set myself up to quiet my mind first, to stop the thoughts from bombarding me. And that's all I focused on, was my breathing and staring at that flame of that candle. And every time a thought came in, to keep my attention take it right back to the flame in my breathing. Once I accomplished that and was able to do that and maintain that stillness and that mastery of my thoughts for 15 minutes, I didn't set unrealistic expectations for myself. I didn't attach an expectation to it. I just kept doing it until I was able to still those thoughts, to quiet that chatter. Once I was able to maintain that for 15 minutes, sweethearts, I then was able to observe those thoughts without attaching them. I would allow them to just flow through my mind, if you will, and just observe them as quick as they come, let them go and not attach my emotions to them. And if I attempted to attach emotions, I would stop myself and focus back on my breathing. Now again, my techniques not necessarily will work for everyone. And that is where you need to find, hi Davina, hi Michelle, that is where you need to discover what works for you. You know, maybe you can't sit in front of an altar and that's okay. You know, you can meditate feeding your chickens. You can meditate brushing your horse. You can meditate by hugging a tree. The purpose is not necessarily a meditation as it is to quiet the mind so you can hear your spirit, hear your heart, hear your soul. And when you can allow yourself not to add an expectation, if you will, to when you go into trying to quiet your mind, when you go in and you start to practice quieting your mind, stilling it, you will discover, if you do not attach an expectation to it, you will have better results. It's do not judge it if you don't master it the first time, the second time, the fifth time. Allow the judgments to not be there. If you do not allow your mind to go quiet, to go still, you will not be able to hear and receive the true message in the clarity that goes with that message that you are receiving, because it will be distorted by the mind thoughts. And that is why it is a necessity, yes, mindfulness techniques. But there are many out there who don't understand what mindfulness is. And so for those who are intimidated by meditation, for those who are intimidated or cannot, have convinced themselves, well, I tried to meditate and I can't quiet my mind. Maybe that isn't the technique for you to try. You know, maybe, honey, I do both. I let spirit guide me. I use candles and sit in candlelight the majority of my time. My awakening hours. I love candles. I love fire, though. For me, how I meditate, Davina, is I do use candles still. However, I do a lot of water purifying meditation, and I use a lot of water in my meditation. If I do not go to the river, if I do not go to the lake, I take walks in nature and do walking meditations. I actually practice many different varieties of meditation, including the ancient techniques. I have grown to that space, though, where I am able to do that. Not everybody is in that space. And so, yes, I do, to answer your question, I do still meditate with a candle. I also, again, like I said, I spend a lot of time meditating in water, near water, or using water in my meditations if I sit in front of a crystal grid or my altar or anything like that. I worked my way up to those different avenues, if you will. Good morning, Amelia. Big hugs and blessings, beautiful. So there is no right or wrong way to meditate. The goal, if you will, is to quiet and still the mind chatter so you can hear the guidance you're being given by your team, by your spirit, by your angels, by your power animals, your totems. And it's also really helpful. You know, Leah, I am, let me rephrase this. I was not able to do visualizations till about midway through my journey. Now, when I say do visualizations, I was able to, from the very beginning, receive visions. I've always been given visions. I have been graced with the blessings and gifts of hearing spirit, hearing my team, hearing Sky Command, and also visions, and also able to see symbols and grids and such like that. To actually sit there with an intent of going into meditation to visualize something, to manifest, that is still not a practice that I engage in regularly. Again, there are different things that work different ways that work for each of you. And that is the beauty of the uniqueness of each of us. And there is a great amount of fun, if you will, in discovering those ways and aspects and tools that enhance you and your uniqueness. When we discover different ways of doing things from the ancient teachings, then we are able to spread that awareness and share that awareness and share those tools with others. Because there is a limitless number of ways and roads and pathways to get to the same meeting space, which is God, which is Creator, which is Zero Point, which is Gaia, which is all that you are. So for anybody to say, no, you have to do it this particular way, there are numerous ways to quiet your mind. Hi Tracy, hi Lemon, hi Shannon, how y'all doing, sweethearts? And no one way is wrong, and no one way is right. So I encourage you to really discover what works for you. You know, maybe you will discover a new way of doing something that no one else has discovered yet, and by you mastering that within yourself, you're able to share with somebody else. And as we go along, in each moment, something more, hi Shannon, how you doing, beautiful, is born and given birth to. And that's those that will be replacing the ways of the old, the ways of the ancient teachings. So the joy and the fun of your individual journeys, including meditation, is discovering what works for you and with you. I am perfect, beautiful. Thank you for asking. And so, sure, you can quiet your mind by sitting cross-legged and Om. Absolutely. You can quiet your mind sitting on a roller coaster. The former things fade away. Absolutely, Teresa. How you doing, beautiful? Thank you for watching, all of you sweet ones. And so, discover, maybe you want to go for a ride on a horse. That's your meditation. Myself and many others, I can get in my vehicle and drive and have a most glorious, glorious meditation, even though I'm wide awake driving on the interstate. There are many who use binaural beats, solfeggio music, to help them quiet their mind or to assist them in meditation. And then there's some like myself that cannot have music at all while I'm meditating. So again, there is no right or wrong way. Meditation is just another label, just another description of quieting the mind, stopping the mind chatter. And if listening to music softly in the background helps you quiet your mind, then go for it. Just because Susie down the road says, oh no, you can't do it that way. No, that's what works for Susie. What works for me works for me. It may or may not work for you. Maybe you want to stand in the shower and meditate in there. Many of us in a salt bath, in a shower, can connect and meditate that way. There is no wrong way to do it, sweethearts. So enjoy the journey of discovering what works for you. Your goal and the purpose of any of it is to control the thoughts, to quiet the mind so you can hear your heart, so you can hear your spirit, so you can hear God. Because God speaks to you through you. And when you allow yourself to focus on your breath, every time, there you go, Elizabeth says even doing dishes, absolutely, vacuuming, doing dishes, scrubbing the toilet, I mean, whatever you want and whenever and however, as long as you don't attach an expectation of it has to be this way, or I have to accomplish this time. As long as you don't judge yourself and put expectations on it, you're golden. And as long as you're diligent about practicing it until you've accomplished it, it's no different than sports. It's no different than going out for football practice or choir practice or any other practice. Lifting weight, whatever it may be, lifting weights, whatever it may be. You don't start out being able to bench press 500 pounds. Is that realistic, gentlemen? I don't know. I was using an example. Maybe it's 300 pounds. I don't know, but my point is this, sweethearts. You didn't start out you didn't start out the mountain you had to climb at the top. You had to climb it. Unless you have a helicopter or a starship that dropped you off on top of the mountains. But seriously, your goal is to quiet your mind. And how you proceed to do that, how you discover whichever ways to do that, is perfect for you. As long as you are able to focus on your breath and allow the thoughts to not steal your attention, if you will. It won't, Lee Carl, what do you mean, sweetheart? It won't happen on our timeline. Stay in it. I guess I'm a little confused on that, Lee. Can you explain for me, please, sweetheart? Welcome, Lillian. Big hugs and blessings, sweethearts. So Lee Carr just said something that I'm not real clear on what she was referring to. I've asked her to explain that. So again, sweethearts, your goal is to just quiet the mind. To stop those, you still have to filter the human emotions. Right, but this is about how to quiet your mind first. And then you can, once you've mastered quieting the mind, then